everyone. Just another quick update really. I've had a few things come my way and just wanted to draw attention to those. First thing is a new video that quite a few people have sent me, and it is a new video that is of Flight 175 crashing into the World Trade Center. Now, this was sent to me initially by Mark Conlon, and he keeps an eye on this very closely, all these sorts of things. And I'll just play a little clip from this video where you can actually see how it's different to some of the others. So here we go.
Exactly.
So there you can see that it's quite similar to the Herzakani video because, as you probably saw from the crowd, and as Mark Conlon has pointed out, it was taken from the ferry, which is where one of the other camera people who filmed it was Carmen Taylor, I think is her name. Now, Mark's done a lot of research onto this. I'll go back to this Facebook thread. These links, of course, will all be in the description if you want to look at them. And there's been quite a bit of discussion on a Facebook thread that I started when Mark sent me this. So you can go and have a look at that if you've got access to Facebook. The takeaway really is that this proves really that the Herzakani video is genuine. And all those that have tried to say that the Herzakani video is done by video fakery and that they're now again trying to say this is CGI, and a few people have said that already on this one, that's not the case. As Mark has gone to some great lengths to show, this is basically it is some form of image projection, and this is Mark's discussed this as well with Christian Hampton in the Wolf Clan media films, so you can go and look at those, and they're on this thread as well. I might add a couple of links to the description, so do check that out. You don't need to send me this now. I've seen this several times now, and it just basically backs up what we already knew, really. I don't think there's any really new information that's come out of this, just that it backs up what Mark Conlon has been saying for several years now, that this proves that the Herzakani video is real. The other thing that's been in the news then is, of course, this situation in the Ukraine, which I haven't really studied very much. I'm not really following it. I know various people saying, various things like it's a false flag to make the Russians ditch or change their financial currency arrangements, and that's going to bring in the CDBC, the central bank, CBDC, I should say, central bank digital currency, and all of that. Maybe it is. I don't know, but it reminded me of because I was talking about this something recently with somebody else, of a quote from Karl Rove, who was Bush's right-hand advisor, right-hand man in the early 2000s. And he said then, I don't remember whether this was in an interview or in an article that he published or a talk that he gave. I think it might have been a talk that he gave. He said, we're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, judiciously, as you will, we will act again, creating other new realities which you can study too, and that's how things will sort out. We're history's actors, and you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do. So, the point is that we can see from this marvellous piece of artwork here, this is how I view it. It's just another psychological operation I'm not really going to explore it any more than I have now. I don't really want to unless it becomes more necessary. I was wrong about the COVID thing in terms of I thought it would go away, and of course it didn't. This may well trigger wider world events. I'm hoping that it just pans out more or less like it did a few years back when it just kind of all faded away. I think it was 2014. So I know I think there's been more hostilities and violence apparently, but again, can we even trust that? Because we've got stories like this. BBC uses military parade as Ukraine invasion footage. So, how much of this footage is genuine? We've just talked about video fakery a minute ago. How much of this is being done with Ukraine? I really don't know, and I don't want to study it at the moment. So, don't ask me really, because I'm not a good person to ask. There's plenty of other websites that are looking at it, so go and look at them. Just to sort of add to that, really, Peter Ebdon sent me this, and it's a good little reminder of how the video fakery can be done. You can see here just a little scene with a child walking along the edge of a park, and how that's been doctored to make it look like he's about to fall down into an abyss near a waterfall. And this is very easily done, as you can see here. Just showing how it's done. So we've got the original clip there, and then green screen that part, or add in a green layer, and then add in some footage of a waterfall. It's all motion tracked with a correct perspective and stuff, so very realistic, so just bear that in mind. And then just on to another topic that's come my way. We've got this new video that's come out by somebody, well, you can see it's Unified TV, and I forget the name of the, it's Jason Shirker. I've not heard of him before. He's a new name to me. And then he's interviewing this person that is called Ray, and I think this is a little bit of a pun, because Ray apparently works for this group called the Light System, and there's quite a long video here. I have listened to all of it. It's one of these largely evidence-free videos, really, and it has some red flags associated with it, like the introduction is very, very melodramatic. The whole scenery is, well, let me just play a little bit of this.
Okay. Before we get to the God topic, because that was a big question that was brought in as well. In our first interview together, people didn't understand where God fit into the picture of everything you were speaking about. So we'll get there. But before we even get there, I want to ask you, number one, have you ever spoken about these topics on camera before, other than our last interview together?
No.
How long have you been working with TLS for?
12 years.
12 years. When was it? January of what year?
2010. My first experience was January 2010.
Do you know why you were approached and chosen by TLS in the way that you were?
Today I have a better idea of why. I was asking those questions all the time from the beginning. I don't like to speak about myself personally, but I can tell you, anybody who's going to be chosen is being chosen for his character, his actions.
And so it goes on, and it takes quite a while to get going. Maybe after about half an hour it starts to get more interesting, but there's no pictures, there's no documents shown or anything like that. It's all on this guy's, this hooded guy's say-so. The voice is disguised, as you can see. So it may just be all, clickbait theatre, I don't know. But I did listen to the whole thing, and he talks about some interesting things. He talks about Hollow Earth at one point. This is brought up by the interviewer. And what he says about that sort of ties in with what I've written about that and put in my talks. Ties into a good degree with that. He doesn't talk about races under the earth, but he does say that there are tunnels and things and various things like that. He also talks about the destruction of the UN. Talks about underground bases and rescuing children, which of course has been talked about. Talks about extraterrestrials shutting down nuclear weapons and being very concerned, which is a theme we've seen from people like Wilbert Smith back in the 50s. And the other key concept that he talks about is, he says that the way out of all the current evil that's going on is to develop universal awareness. That's what he calls it. Because he currently says that we're going the same way as the Atlantis civilization or Atlantean civilization. The technology is getting well in advance of our spiritual development and this sort of thing. So those parts are quite interesting to me, because those things are what I've, similar to what I've concluded by studying all this stuff over the years. So he does say some interesting things, but it could all just be to pander or to appeal to people like me, and one thing he doesn't talk about is 9/11. He talks about technology at various points, never mentions 9/11, and of course we all know that the technology that was used on 9/11 is now public. We've discussed what it is. We know roughly how it works. We know that they want it covered up, and we know that they don't want to talk about even the people like Dr. Judy Wood and myself to a lesser degree who've actually uncovered what this technology is and how it works. He doesn't mention any of that, which, he should really, because it wouldn't affect his credibility except in a positive way to discuss that, because he does mention weather modification, for example, and he should know about the research of Dr. Judy Wood. So that was a big red flag for me, as it often is with these sorts of videos. But you can watch it if you want. There's 2 parts. I've only watched the second one. I'll put the links in the description. So finally then, just to finish off for now, there was this other video that I watched. It's called The Parallel Society versus Totalitarianism, How to Create a Free World. And this is quite an interesting video, just about how you create alternative communities and networks. And it's got quite a good summary of how things have sort of panned out over the last couple of years. So that's probably worth some time just listening to as well, if you want to look at that. But I'm not going to play any of that now. It's got a good set of background. It's well thought out. So you can see it's had quite a number of views. So that might be one to have a look at as well. So really, that was it. That was all I wanted to say for now. So thank you again for your support and for watching and listening. And onwards we go in the madness, and we'll see what happens next.